That's the maiden, by the way, for the Worshipful Company of Mercers in the City of London. The real reason I'm down here, though, the Sun Lodge, the Mother Lodge, which is just round the corner here. A special year for the Mother Lodge, as you'll see. Oh, what a glorious bit of architecture. What could it possibly be, Mummy? Oh, I don't know. It's probably some kind of museum or something. Yeah, it does say sort of museum tours and stuff on the outside. 1717. Of the Grand Mother Lodge of England. 1717 is when they decided to not be secret anymore, but instead be more open about it. And they're building something out the front, which I wanted to show you. Fraternity. And just beautiful images of, you know, craft. Look at that line. In memory of Freemasons awarded the Victoria Cross during the Great War.
You have to get the right angle with the sun.
Well, presumably one day they'll take the fence away, huh?
Yeah, well, 25th of April.
So hanging out at Freemasons Hall. It means this is a real conspiracy video. So we're going to do some numerology here. It says here, apparently, this building was opened by Field Marshal His Royal Highness the Duke of Connaught. I have no idea what KG means. Grand Master on July the 19th, 1933.
And this is how we do conspiracy videos.
Number 33, quite important, of course. In certain museums, clubs, dining club, oh my god. Certain hangout places, 33 is very important. And of course 300 years this year for the Grand Mother Lodge of England, 1717 to 2017. Big celebration. What do you think they'll do to celebrate? Well, of course, they'll circumambulate. Marble Arch, Tyburn. I've been here on numerous occasions, as you will probably know, talking about weird death statues at the end of the road of death, like the well-worn severed horse's head, and various other things that I've done down here before. Last time I was down here, I think I was trying to tell you about a Freemasonic thing called Circumambulation, which is walking around in a circle, or maybe dancing around in a circle if you've got a special celebration, but the circle with a dot in the middle, as in like the dome of St Paul's Cathedral and the floor of St Paul's Cathedral. And it's a Freemasonic symbol. It's to do with ritualism. And I don't know if it's the powers that be, and by that I mean Westminster City Council, watch my videos and think, oh, that guy, he's got something coming, because we're going to put a new statue there that's just sort of cultic as hell. And yeah, it's a bit weird. People circumambulating, dancing around in a circle. It is part of the Saatchi collection, apparently, and it's from 1994, and it's to do with like French medieval ritualistic dancing. And in that this is the place for death statues, and always has been, I sort of read this as like people celebrating death or celebrating their own demise, wearing strange masks. It's all very, very weird. Why would people celebrate their own demise? Well, it's simple, really. They've been trained to do so. You may not know, but St James's Park here used to be an animal park. It was actually one of the wonders of sort of Western Europe back in the medieval period. It was a place filled with exotic animals, and some of them a lot more ferocious than these. Some of them like bears and tigers and stuff. And there was a long road at the back called Birdcage Walk, just like there is today, but there used to actually be trained animals on there, trained hunting birds and stuff. And quite impressive for royal guests to come into the park and see these exotic and sometimes ferocious animals so perfectly trained. Like bear would sit up to attention, you know, to get a big beastly killer bear to sit on its hind legs and actually perform to your whim. Very impressive to your guests. And of course, in terms of like guests arriving in nice vehicles, is that a nice vehicle? I don't know who those people are. It's really bad when you get your horse trapped in a traffic jam. Of course, the royal parades and stuff that still happen today at Buckingham Palace, they were designed back in the day not for the public, but for very special invited guests to experience how good you were at training up killer beasts, as in the elite members of the British military. Very, very, very well trained. Animal training. The training of beasts. Gyro. That's a Nazi dog, by the way. The building behind it used to be the Nazi embassy before the Second World War, during the early shenanigans. When they were forced to leave, legend has it that they killed the dog, poor old Gyro. But he deserved to die. He was prepared to die. He was trained to go out and die on behalf of his masters. And this is actually the kind of area where they train good, subservient animals, as is evidenced by something that's further down this road. Somebody was double-crossed, or somebody, Charles de Gaulle, and I don't know if you know much about Charles de Gaulle, but I do, and it's quite enlightening, actually, looking at Charles de Gaulle. Gaullism, the use of the double cross. He almost used it as a protective symbol on the French flag, I guess to stop him from being double-crossed. He was being screwed over, basically, by Britain and America. Well, America was forcing him into a certain position. But the interesting thing about Charles de Gaulle is that they formed in London, of course, where they trained them to do such things. They formed the French Provisional Government in exile, getting them prepared for retaking France as a kind of new nation. The same sort of thing they've been doing again and again and again in places like Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan. But I'm not really here to look at that, although it is vaguely interesting. I'm here to check out these funny looking steps. People are looking at the other one. I have to bide my time. People are interested in these things. They don't quite know what it means, however. It's the Queen's mother and father. And let me tell you, being in the tourist industry myself, this is where people stop to perpetuate various cultural myths about the Second World War and bravery. The Queen Mother, apparently, and this is, massive cultural mythology probably, Hitler once said she was the most dangerous woman in Europe. And what he was talking about, allegedly, if he did just sort of lean over and say it to somebody in a posh dinner or something, he was talking about her propagandistic effect, the way that she was like the mother of the country and helped to, drive morale in the Second World War. Which what are these reliefs are all about? And look at the needy children looking up at the chosen one who decided to stay in London during the Blitz. The reason I'm pointing it out, these funny little statues, you can see like a portrait of them. It's terrifying to look at, actually. That is really terrifying. Made by a guy called Paul Day. And Paul Day seems to be the guy who gets all the jobs for the most important propagandistic memorials. Fairly harrowing, to be honest. The Battle of Britain Memorial, next to the River Thames. Lots of circles around it. There's a circle in the middle, and there's a circle in the background. Big circle. People love going around in circles. The Battle of Britain Memorial. Paul Day was the guy who created that. He won a competition to design it, and it's pretty good. Like all these things, you shouldn't blame the artist necessarily. It's about just who makes the decisions to choose them. And Paul Day seems to be getting all the contracts. Recently, at least, because there's a new memorial over here. Why Paul Day? It's very difficult to actually get a little bit of peace and quiet with this thing. It's literally only just been unveiled by the Queen the other day, so people are like, what is that? It's beautiful. What is it? It's a monument with a what's called a tondo in the middle, the circle, rotondo, which actually dates back to I think ancient Greece, where it would be used basically for like funeral urns or like funeral vases or whatever. They would have like a circle which is symbolic of infinite life and infinite, some alternative media people have said this is like a symbol of the Twin Towers, because it's got like broken edges, which officially are supposed to be like the mountains of Afghanistan or whatever. But some people have said, no, it's the broken Twin Towers. But I don't know if you watch the same videos as I did, but I can promise you the Twin Towers, they just disintegrated in mid-air. They did not look like that. They looked like basically nothing was there. Yeah. Now, this is the two pillars. The interesting thing that drew me to this was the fact that I found out that it weighed 33 tons. And in terms of a military memorial, 33 is quite important. I mean, there's a military memorial to the Duke of Wellington at Hyde Park, and that also weighs 33 tons. This it's actually, I believe, a number 11. Just like in a lot of things like this, a number 11, like the Egyptians used to have things in pairs, forming a number 11, the gateway. As I've said in various other videos, it's a gateway. And this is a symbol of death in the middle. It's a gateway into heaven or whatever, or purgatory or whatever. And it's got a Paul Day on the front, because he gets chosen for everything. And this one's quite ordinary. It's just sort of army people with their guns, rushing heroically into battle. But it's only if you go around the back that you start to see some more harrowing imagery, which is things like this. UK aid being handed out, inoculations happening. That is absolutely terrifying. I mean, that image there, that is harrowing. In terms of like the understanding of the international project, there's some women getting an education so that when the white guy and the Arabs people
have a little chat. You can see this guy's like rubbing his chin. He's like, yes, tell me more about this imperial project. And then, because they taught the lady to write, she's signing the contract. And they've dug up some water for them and stuff. UK aid. It says duty and service. Actually, the most interesting thing in this monument, actually, are these little boxes at the bottom. The little boxes at the bottom, in between, are for the lights. I don't know if you can see, it's got lights on it, which means it's electrical. It means it's connected by wires. I mean, the things that I think about were like, it's plugged in. Plugged into what? Is it plugged into the MOD? Right, see, I don't think it is. I never saw them dig up this road to lay down cables. However, any evidence, Sherlock Holmes, of any digging going on attached to what building exactly? Oh, New Scotland Yard. I believe this is electronically attached to New Scotland Yard, and you've got to imagine that they will have in their minds that objects like that, such controversial, counter-revolutionary strategy, like building one of those, to kind of appease the masses and to bow your head in, lots of dignified people come to bow their head at this thing or whatever. I believe they think it's probable that somebody will try and vandalise it, and they're probably quite interested to know who it is who comes anywhere near this thing, and I believe that it's possibly even a stingray device. How easy it would be to have this read mobile phone identification data feeding straight into Scotland Yard. It's almost like bait, a huge bit of bait. But nowadays, does anyone really care anymore? I mean, I do, but does anyone in the mass public really think about the Iraq War and what happened anymore? Or the cancelling of the investigation into war crimes at the Iraq War? Do people think about that? Do people think about the possibility of that being a stingray and stealing their data, and would they really care? And the answer is no, of course they don't care, because the general public have been very well trained to celebrate their own demise. Dance in a circle, wear a mask, and pretend it's not happening.